940,000 mortgage holders at risk. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, and I want to have a look at this article put out by Roy Morgan about mortgage stress and how it's growing in 2022, because we're starting to see more discussions around it. Now, the definition of mortgage stress, which, bear with me, I'm going to just bring up my data source here. Yep, I've got it. Well, the definition of housing stress, which also covers rental stress, but it's the same as mortgage stress, is this one. It's typically described as lower income households that spend more than 30% of gross income on housing costs. So this is from the ABS, and it's just based on, well, it's really only lower income households. It's not everyone. I don't know if, well, I don't seem to think everyone else is using that same definition, because here they're saying 940,000 people will be at risk. So anyway, let's have a look at this. Mortgage stress is growing in 2022 and set to rise further as the RBA continues to increase interest rates. And well, if we bring over here my good old favorite Excel, here we're running a scenario, I think Bank of Queensland, if you were going off of 1.99 to a new variable of 5.3 or fixed of 5.39 or even 4.19, you're seeing an increase of 30% in your mortgage repayments. Okay? Why is that? Is that monthly repayment so low? Oh, yeah, 150,000. Oh, yeah, no one has that mortgage. What are we thinking? There you go. There you go. I'm thinking, wow, that ain't that bad. What are we complaining about? But you're seeing an increase of 30%. You know, depending on which bank you're with, you've got different options here, but all the rates are going up because, well, our cash rate was at 0.1%. It was a joke. Okay? Everyone who's fixed below 2%, we all know that's a joke. Okay? So anyway, let's have a look here. New research from Roy Morgan shows an estimated 854,000 mortgage holders, 19.4%, were at risk of mortgage stress. So they're not at mortgage stress, but they're at risk of it. And this doesn't mean they're defaulting on their mortgage. It means that they're spending a 30% of their income on their mortgage. So is that the end of the world? Maybe for the boomer generation that had it super easy, that'd be a big deal. But think about it. If you're saving an insane amount of money just to get a deposit together and rent and everything, maybe 30% of your income on your mortgage is easier than what you were doing before. Just putting it out there. So, in the 3 months to July 2022, this period encompassed the first three interest rate increases, from the RBA in May, 0.25, June 0.5, July 0.5, with official interest rates hitting 1.35% in early July. So we're higher than that now. Official interest rates in July were at their highest for over 3 years since June 2019. And since then, interest rates have increased in both August and September to 2.35%, and we're probably going to get another interest rate increase tomorrow, and are set to increase again in early October. Another interest rate increase of 0.5 points in October would take the official interest rates to 2.85%. The highest official interest rates have been since May 2013. Are you noticing you're actually starting to earn money now in the bank again, guys? The good news is that the proportion of mortgage holders considered at risk of mortgage stress in mid-2022 is well below the highest reached during the GFC in 2009. So in the GFC, it was 35.6, 1.4 million mortgage holders, and below the average of the last decade of 904,000, of 20.8%. So we're not as bad yet as during the GFC, and we're not as bad as the average of the last decade. So we need to keep that in mind. Mortgage stress dropped to record lows during 2021, as record low interest rates, tens of billions of dollars of government stimulus, and the measures taken by banks and financial institutions to support borrowers in financial distress combined to reduce the number of mortgage holders considered at risk. Yeah, but does that really count, though? I guess it does, technically, But it's just future generations are going to bear that burden. The government debt is just getting nuts, and future generations are going to have to pay that off. Was it worth it? Yeah. Anyway. There's been a similar trend for mortgage holders considered extremely at risk, with only 12.7% or 542,000 of this group in the 3 months to July 2022, below the average of the last decade of 13.9, 585,000 mortgage holders. So we're doing better. We're doing better than the average for the last decade. So just bear that in mind. So does that mean perhaps we haven't felt the impact of these interest rate increases yet? Perhaps. Or people have all locked in their mortgages, or the fact that unemployment is still pretty good. So people aren't losing their jobs as they were back during the GFC and other times. I remember, what was it, 11 around here? All architecture firms just started firing people left, right, and center. Mortgage risk is set to increase to nearly 1 in 4 mortgage holders in November. The RBA decision to increase interest rates by 0.5 in both August and September means official interest rates are now at 2.35% and set to move higher still over the next few months. Roy Morgan has modeled the impact of the existing interest rate increase in August and September, plus 1%, on mortgage holders, as well as the potential rate increase of 0.5 during each of the next 2 months. The interest rate increases already made by the RBA mean that 20.8% of mortgage holders, 942,000, would now be classified at risk, an increase of 88,000 on the original 854,000. And the highest number of mortgage holders classified as at risk for over 3 years since May 2019. If the RBA increases interest rates by 0.5 in each of the next 2 months, this would mean 24.3% of mortgage holders, 1.1 million, would be classified as at risk, an increase of 246,000 on July 2022. This would be the most mortgage holders classified at risk since July 2013, just over 9 years ago. We can see here, this is the chart. Grey is showing at risk. Red is showing extremely at risk. We can see here, if we're going up to 3.35% in November, which doesn't seem that ludicrous, to be quite honest, you're going to have a large number at risk, or at extreme risk. How are mortgage holders considered at risk or extremely at risk? Okay. Roy Morgan considers the risk of mortgage stress among mortgage holders in 2 ways. Mortgage holders are considered, remember, this isn't under mortgage stress, this is at risk of mortgage stress. Considers at risk if their mortgage repayments are greater than a certain percentage of household income, depending on income and spending. Okay, so they're doing it properly. At risk is based on those paying more than a certain proportion of after-tax household income, 25 to 45% depending on income and spending, into their home loan, based on the appropriate standard variable rate reported by the RBA and the amount they initially borrowed. I bet you there'd be some of you right now watching who are paying like 50% of their mortgage, who just want to decimate it. You'd be at risk. Watch out. Particularly the FIRE ones wanting to get out of debt, or the Dave Ramsey fans. Mortgage holders are considered extremely at risk if even the interest only is over a certain portion of the household income. Extremely at risk is based on those paying more than a certain proportion of their after-tax household income into their home loan, based on the standard variable rate set by the RBA and the amount now outstanding on their home loan. Okay. I mean, the thing I like about the Roy Morgan approach is it's after tax. So it's much more useful than the ABS definition. So, I mean, there's a lot more we like about Roy Morgan. Their unemployment rate's more accurate. See? Private sector once again, guys. Michelle Levine, CEO Roy Morgan. Says mortgage stress is on the rise during 2022 as the RBA embarks on its first interest rate increasing cycle in over a decade, but still remains below long-term averages in September despite 5 straight months of increases. So this is just the quote here. Is there anything else that we're seeing? No, not really. These are the latest findings from Roy Morgan's single-source survey based on in-depth interviews conducted with over 60,000 Australians each year, including over 10,000 owner-occupier mortgage holders. To understand more about mortgages in the full context of household finance caused by COVID-19, ask Roy Morgan. Okay. So there we have it, everyone. Let's have a talk about this one. I'm certainly a fan of Roy Morgan's approach to identifying at-risk and extremely at-risk mortgage stress. And I think I'm going to start bringing that into the definitions and use that as the basis for when we analyze a lot of these concerns that are being put out there. I mean, if people can't even manage the interest-only component of their mortgage, well, it's not saying they can't manage it, is it? It's saying it makes a certain proportion of their expenditure. So even if we have 1 million houses at extreme risk, it doesn't mean that you're going to start seeing them flood the market. What it means is the discretionary spending those people will do is going to dry up. So people going out to retail shopping is going to disappear. Me on my birthday shopping on Amazon, that would end. I'd have to cancel Prime. What would I cut? I've gotten naughty. Well, the Disney Plus, that's the kids have actually paid for that, so that's theirs. Prime, I'd have to get rid of that. I don't think I've gotten that many subscriptions. EB Games, I got that one. That was only like $7 for a year, so I'd get rid of that too. But still, the point I'm badly trying to make is that people would cut back on their discretionary spending, and that's what we're going to see. We're going to see consumer spending slowly creep down as people begin to tighten their belts. But the other factor is, will we see that, will we see that delayed because a significant number of people didn't trust the RBA and locked in our mortgages? Or are they going to be sensible people that are preparing for the bad times, so are going to start tightening their belt anyway? And will this all lead to a recession? And then don't forget, if you're hoping this will lead to a correction in house prices, a significant one, we've still got international migration is shooting up in Australia. International students are shooting up, and supply to address housing demand is going down. Fun and games, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Let me know your opinions on this one. Do you prefer Roy Morgan or the ABS stats? And what do you reckon? Check out my other channels, HeiseBim and HeiseSays International, for other content I create. If you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. Financially on YouTube or Patreon, using our referral links, buying our pocket squares, or calling us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays.